anybody in this room think that the war on drugs is winnable? No? All right. So when we talk about drug addiction, because that's really how I interpret this question, we're talking about a couple of things. We're talking about medical treatment for addicts, and that requires a whole series of support networks from family to the medical community. And you all know the services that are provided from AIDS Project Worcester to the Family Health Center. But we're also talking about how we're going to legally solve the problem. I don't know if anybody here remembers Lenny Bruce. He was a comedian, political comedian in the 1960s and 70s. I read his autobiography in the 70s when I was in school, and he made a very perceptive conclusion that once the kids who were using drugs when he was alive went to school and became state legislators, mayors, presidents, judges, guess what they were going to bring with them? That memory of drug abuse, recreational drug abuse, and those of their friends who became addicts, and maybe then the laws would be in support of those drug addicts. We are supporting whole countries from Afghanistan to Mexico because of our antiquated drug laws. They need to be reviewed.
Joe Bryant?
Just want to start real quickly and thank Epica and the Y for putting this together and all y'all for being here. Real quickly, my answer is really around 4 words: outreach, treatment, jobs, and enforcement. My experience is I live down here in Main South in a Royal Place, and we have some corners where people deal with every day. And kids are struggling there, and a lot of communities struggle with that. I've spent most of my life working with young people, challenge young folks at DYS. One of my first jobs was working here at the YMCA, running community programs at Lakeside and Plumley Village. The best hire we made was Brenda Jenkins, where she's at. Seriously, a couple of things. Outreach, you need to have folks who are outreaching in the community and reaching out to folks who are on the edge of that, and folks who are struggling with addiction. You got to have treatment beds once folks are ready to come off the street and want to try to get clean. They got to have a bed ready for them. You got to have jobs. Once people get clean, you got to provide them real opportunities for employment to support themselves. And real jobs, especially for folks who have employees, I'm trying to do some work on this. And then closing, you do need enforcement. We got bad corners. We're good people in my neighborhood. Lots of folks, older folks, are afraid to go in at night because folks are doing the wrong thing. And you got to have enforcement as well, because you got to be able to create a safe place for people to live in their community. So outreach, treatment, jobs, and enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me just thank Epica and Mosaic for the opportunity. First of all, of course, we need to increase police presence. We need to increase police presence. And then second of all, I think we need to take pride back in our neighborhoods. I think we all need to, property owners, residents, and the police need to start to communicate more and start to figure out ways to reduce this problem. I think property owners need to be more vigilant and make sure drug peddlers aren't in their apartments, aren't in their buildings. Make sure that the drug pushers aren't in their abandoned buildings, aren't in their vacant buildings. I think it's very important. Thirdly, I think churches and the community need to be more involved in our youth's lives. It's very important. We need to start from the youth so that we can tell them that, listen, this is not the route to go. Drugs is not the way to go. So I think it's very important for us to start as a community and be involved as a community and we can grow as a community. Thank you very much.
On time. I won't be on time.
The first thing I want to say, police should be the last resort. We want to talk about a good community, a community where people respect each other. The police are the last resort. The first thing I think we have to do is about opportunity. Joe just talked about jobs. Jobs. My father taught for 46 years in the public schools. He said he was renowned for all these teaching methods. But he said, Rick, my basic job is to build self-confidence. Because once you have the child had self-confidence, they felt they could do anything. It's the same thing when you treat addiction. Nobody picks up a pipe or snorts a line or smokes something because they feel good about themselves at that moment. And that is the number one thing. Anything we do, whether it be community-based programs, whether it be small business development, whatever we do, we have to keep in mind, if we build self-confidence in ourselves and in our community, we can do it. What are some of the practical ways to do that? I think we're doing some of them with the community watches that we have locally. 10 seconds, 9 seconds. The foot beats and things like that. But again, everything has to be driven with the premise that we're developing the soul, we're developing opportunity for people.
Thanks a lot. William McCarthy.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. As a member of the Y, I'd like to thank the Y for having us here tonight, and as somebody who used to come to this gym. Now, of course, you can probably tell I haven't been here in a while, but I did used to come here. I grew up right here on Lyman Street, probably a couple blocks away, and I used to walk back and forth to work down at the Worcester Center for many years during high school. I see this problem of addiction as this. It's twofold. The first one is not everybody who is doing drugs has to get arrested. Some of these people need rehabilitation, and it's very important that those people receive that needed rehabilitation, because there was just a 10-year study that was published that showed that the people who got rehabilitation rather than jail time were able to stay off of drugs for up to a year. Now, it takes time, but I understand the struggles. I grew up here. Several of my friends had problems with this, and I think that would definitely be something if we target two groups. One, the people that need real rehabilitation, and number two, the drug dealers. We call them out, and we stay on them, we publish their names, we show their pictures, and we get them off the streets and send them to jail. Thank you.
Mary Keith.
Thank you everybody for coming tonight. I think we all know that lives with dignity, productive lives, and lives that are connected to opportunity aren't going to make the choice to either deal drugs or use drugs. And so, like many of my colleagues have said, I think it boils down to jobs. And I see it in the Piedmont area now, where young men are forced to turn to risky behavior because they aren't employed. So I'd like to make a focus on jobs, and I'd also like to focus on treatment. I'll make a pledge that I will work hard to understand this issue and understand the programs that are available, and to work with our delegation to make sure that through the Department of Public Health that Worcester's getting their fair share. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me? Yeah. All right, because I don't want to hold this up here. Look, this is a worldwide problem. This isn't an issue germane to just Maine South. But what happens is people get into drug use because of despair. We need to focus on trying to provide support in the community through jobs and opportunity for our youth. Because that's where it all starts. When they have hope, they're not going to get involved in this. It's a wraparound approach. You have to have a public safety element of it. We need to be able to get out there and look for more grant money, because money's an issue. And we're going to need to write grants to be able to have more community policing. I believe very strongly that when you have people out in the street caring and communicating with people, that there's less of that going around. I believe in the DARE program. I wish we could really bring that back into the schools. But I think in truth, the reality that we face is that jobs are one of the biggest problems that we have. So we have to work together to create new opportunities for people.
Thanks a lot. And we'll go on to the next question.